Hi, welcome to the second installation of What's Going On with Mo's Boob. Um, so, since the last time I made this video, and I actually have notes to the right because I keep making really long videos and I don't want them to be any long. I'm trying to keep it at 10 minutes. So, I took notes. So, this past Wednesday, I had an ultrasound up at Oro Valley Hospital. And during that ultrasound, uh, um, we discovered, well, the technician's name is Mike. He was a lovely guy. He was really lovely. He wouldn't take a picture of me, but he was a nice guy. Um, so, you know, their ultrasound technicians are really not allowed to tell you what's going on. But, if you know the right questions to ask, you can find out a little information. So when he was done with the ultrasound, there was an image on the screen. And I said, what is that image? And he said, well, that would be the 1.9 centimeter mass that's in your breast. And I said, can you explain it to me? And he said, well, that, what do you look for? And he said, well, what we look for is we look for, if we look we look to see if the mass is clear, which would indicate it's a cyst, or we also look to see if it is hypoechoic. And hypoechoic is what my mass is. And what that means, hypoechoic, because I had to actually have him explain to me what it means. It means that the mass, so you can see, looks like this on the screen, or what a close representation, and the inside of it is dense, so it shows up like milky strands. It really is what it looked like. He said if it was a cyst, it would be clear, so it's hypoechoic. And that was all he told me. And he was very sweet. And on Thursday, which was yesterday, I then had my oncology appointment with my surgeon. Oddly enough, she's partners with a surgeon who did a umbilical hernia surgery that I had in 2014. But I digress. So, in talking with this doctor, her name is Dr. Elizabeth Martin. In talking with her, she explained to me, because this is um, the third ride with this breast and breast cancer. Um, she said, we're going to do a lumpectomy, um, and we want to follow it with radiation. So let me break this down. So when she said lumpectomy, I asked her, I said, so this is because this is my third time with breast cancer, why are we just not doing a mastectomy? And she explained to me it's because this mass, and it's 1.9 centimeters, it's pretty small. It's not attached to my chest wall. It's in situ, which means none of the surrounding tissue is involved, and my lymph node isn't involved. So she said, we're going to just do the lumpectomy. And I said, okay. I said, all right. It's kind of on top and to the right of where the last mass was. So um, she also told me that the ultrasound showed a lesion underneath the mass. And she said if it wasn't for that lesion, because I asked her why was there a lesion. She said, well, during that time, hi kitty cat in the back. She said during the time that you did you try to squeeze it at any point? And I said I did. I actually did. I did try to squeeze it. I poked it with a sterilized pin and I tried to squeeze it. And she said, so you caused a lesion underneath it. However, having said that, she said, had you not caused that lesion, which eventually turned into an infection underneath there, um, not a terrible infection, but a little bit of an infection. She said that's why it burst open when you were trying to bring it to a head, because I was trying to bring it to a head. I thought it was a boil. Um, So I have been on antibiotics since September 21st. I don't like antibiotics, but I've been on antibiotics because I have a significantly elevated white blood cell count, and specifically, it's monocytes that are elevated. White blood cell counts have different members of the family. So the family members that I have, which are creating more, are the monocytes. Monocytes just indicate that I have my body's fighting some sort of infection, and it can be indicators of cancer, uh, amongst other things. So I've been on antibiotics, not my favorite. We scheduled the lumpectomy for Monday, November 11th. Uh, the surgery is actually at 11 o'clock. They want me to be at Oro Valley Hospital. It's an outpatient surgery, so it's not, I'm not going to be in the hospital for a week. Uh, Outpatient surgery. The appointment is, or the surgery is actually scheduled for 11. I have to be there at 9 a.m. Surgery is at 11. Dr. Martin said the surgery would take about an hour, barring any complications. And she said then there's about 2 hours of recovery time, and then you go home. So you have to have somebody drive you. And I don't really want anybody to drive me to this. I mean, that was honestly my first thought was I don't want anybody to drive me to this. And on the drive home from Oro Valley Hospital, I was talking to a very good friend of mine in Wisconsin, and she said, "So who's driving you?" And I got quiet, and she said, "So help me God, Mo, if you take an Uber to a surgery like this, I will never speak to you again." She's like, "I have 5 days of vacation coming up," and I said, "No, I'll find somebody. I'll find somebody." So, it turned out that uh, a friend of mine who's a doctor is out of town, so she can't do it. My business partner is going through some pretty big stuff too, and I don't really want to bother her. You know, um, I have other friends that work on Monday, and have other commitments, and I don't like to be a bother. I mean, really, when it all boils down to it. Um, but I wound up calling my friend Daniela. Uh, and if Daniela is watching this, hello, Dee, I love you. So Daniela and her mother are going to drive me to Oro Valley Hospital and stay there. I think they're bringing games or snacks or I don't know, dancing dogs. I don't even know why I said that. Anyway, so they're driving me, and then yesterday evening while I was talking to another friend of mine, she said, "So who's staying with you?" And I went, "Oh my God, what do you mean who's staying with me?" She said, "Well, is anybody like to take care of you after the surgery?" I hadn't even thought of that. So, had not even thought of that. So the friend I was talking to said, "Well, she said, depending on my day off, she said, I'll either come Monday and I'll sit with Daniela and her mom. She said, or I can come Tuesday. Uh, so I'm fairly sure I have Monday and or Tuesday covered, and that's good. Wednesday, I do not. Thursday, I do have some friends coming in, and it was kind of unexpected. I offered help to the female half of these friends, and she said, "Hey, is there anything we can do for you?" Thank you, thank you. I don't know that I would have asked you had you not offered, so I really appreciate that very much. I appreciate everybody offering to help. And it's really silly because it's not a whole bunch, like I don't need to be bathed or, fed or it's just really what I need help with is I have two dogs. I have a Great Dane and I have a German Shepherd mix. German Shepherd mix is laying on the floor. Maybe if I see. Oh, there she is. So anyway, um, the Great Dane is special needs and there's some things that I do with them, like filling up their 5-gallon water bucket to drink out of that I'm not going to be able to do. And yeah, I hate saying I'm not going to be able to do this. I and I shouldn't do it. and then help with like my composter. I am just rambling. Anyway, uh, I am I am doing well. I've got, a sick and twisted sense of humor at times, and that's a good thing. Also, oh, this is what I was also going to touch on. So post recovery, they think is going to be 1 week, and that's awesome. That's awesome. Uh, they also wanted to do post lumpectomy radiation therapy, and I respectfully declined. Um, I've had radiation therapy. I wasn't a big fan, oddly enough. So I've chosen to treat myself homeopathically with Rick Simpson oil. If you do not know what Rick Simpson oil is, I recommend you go to this website, www.phoenixtears.ca, and you will know what it is. I'm also going to continue taking my SCI tincture, as terrible as that sounds. Uh, and I'm working hard on removing stress from my life. I am my own worst enemy with stress. I create things in my head and just like run free with it. And while I've gotten much better, not perfect. So that's what's going on with me. I'm trying just being human, just being human. And thank you for visiting me in my living room this evening. Uh, until next time, thanks.